Good evening, y'all. We're here for another socially distant interview with Billy and our good friend. Good friend, would you mind introducing yourself to those watching if they don't already know you?
Sure. Good evening, everybody. Hi, my name's Bruce Peterson, and I was once a high school youth minister for Bethany for 5 years. But I've been around Bethany my whole life, and I just have a great heart for our youth and the future of America, really, which is everybody that's coming to your youth group. So really glad to be here tonight.
Absolutely. Bruce, we interviewed your wife, Chris, must have been at least a month ago, but she was such a joy to have, and, you know, as expected, an encouragement to all who come in contact with her. So thank you for being willing to do this as well. Yeah. You guys are quite a power duo. But yeah, if you could expand a little more, not only who you are, maybe some of your ties to Bethany, some of your history with the church, and if you can, what you do for work.
Okay, my ties to Bethany, really, Bethany has been my home church. I used to joke around about it, but I was, when I was born, I think 2 weeks later, I was in the crib nursery at church. That's how far back I go. But, I found the Lord at Bethany when I was very young. And so it'll always be my spiritual home. And I have so many people that I'm grateful for through the years that have invested in me and really have made me who I am and helping me understand the love of the Lord. So how could I help but just be grateful for that and try to turn around and give that out, to anybody I know.
Yeah. And you teach at Bethany, don't you? How long you been doing that?
Yeah. I have to confess that, I have actually been teaching in some form or another at Bethany since I was in 5th grade. When I was in junior high, before then, they asked me to help out with the kids. And so actually I wasn't in 5th grade, I was in junior high, and I helped with the kids. And then when I got to high school, my parents challenged me to serve. And so I was teaching the 5th graders. And then later, 2nd grade, I did all that. But then high school group I did for 5 years. And after we did that, I was ready to move on to some other things. And the pastor, Doug, at the time, said, hey, why don't you guys start a young marrieds group? And, all that teaching you don't want to put to waste. You've been doing it all these years. So, hard to believe that was actually now, wow. That's been 27 years ago now, if you can believe that.
Wow.
So pretty much, my whole adult life. But we started that Young Marrieds group, and they wanted something different. So they said, why don't we not do it on Sunday morning? Let's do it on Friday night. Let's do something for Friday night. And if you guys can get us childcare, we'd come out for that. So I started with a handful of people. And we asked the church if they would provide childcare, and they said they would. So we made it this big thing about come and work on your relationship with the Lord and with your marriage, and build up your marriage and get free childcare. So that was our big thing. And that group just took off after that. And first year it grew and grew, and then second, third, and literally by the 4th year, we had over 50 people, over 25 couples coming on Friday night. And it got pretty big, and I realized, this is getting almost crazy. So I also was working full time, so it just got to be much. So we ended up moving it after my kids were born to Sunday morning, and it's kind of been on Sunday morning for the last almost 20 years now.
Yeah, good old family focus.
And it's now family focus, right?
Yeah. And if Billy, you are willing, maybe include somewhere in the video how some of the adults who watch, if they'd like to participate in the family focus gathering Sunday mornings. I know I've had the honor of joining a couple times.
Yeah, I can put some information and possibly a link in the description.
And I think I jumped the gun on this question, Bruce. I kind of tagged it on to the end of the last, but what do you do for work? And you can expand into your field, whatever, maybe what's some of your work history. Because we know you've done a lot of service. And how has that changed since the pandemic?
Yeah, wow. Well, actually, I work for San Diego County Office of Education, and we run schools for students that are what they call unserved, the most historically underserved kids in the county. So we have the largest school in the nation for homeless youth. We have a school that school actually serves kindergarten through 12th grade students that are homeless. Kids come and they actually can shower in the morning, get a breakfast, lunch, and even dinner. There's even a store there for kids to get, it's free, but they can shop and get clothing if they need clothing or soap, shampoo, any of that stuff that they need. We also serve a school that's high school for only foster youth. They're foster youth students that live there, and they choose to live there and get an education there. And if they stay there and graduate, they get a full ride scholarship anywhere because normally it's very difficult for foster youth to finish school. And because of that, they do all this sponsorship to get them a college education. Then we run about 28 schools for students that are probation referred or kids that have been in trouble or expelled that need an intervention. Then we also run the schools that are for kids that have made mistakes and they're in detention centers. So many different types of schools, and I'm the executive director there. And we also serve another group of kids, the sixth graders in San Diego. I oversee a program that has camp. It's called Outdoor Education. And every sixth grader in San Diego actually goes to camp for a week. And that is part of their public school system. They do have to pay a little bit of money, but for those that can't, we work out a way to do that. But all of that has been on hold. So you said, what's different? Every one of my schools right now is on distance learning. So it has been an incredible 5 months for us trying to stop what we were doing with education and end up doing schools differently so that kids are at their houses. But it's very difficult for our kids, many that don't have internet, many of them to tune into school. Maybe there's 3 or 4 kids in that family. They're all around one phone. That's the only internet they have. So it's been a challenge to get the education going, and but it's good work, and I love the mission that the Lord has called me to there.
What a diverse group of students, young people in need, and this is the first time I'm hearing a little in detail some of the things that you oversee, and not surprised at all. Been looking up to you for since the day I showed up. I know you're an example to many. You and your family are loved dearly, so thank you for sharing a bit about that. But one of the things you do best, Bruce, is the Lord encourages people through you and through your experience. For any youth or families watching, would you have anything encouraging to say to them tonight?
Well, for me, I'll just tell you that the Lord has a plan for your life. And I have no doubt in my mind, there's somebody listening right now that wonders, what on earth am I here for? Lord, what is the plan for my life? Maybe peer pressure or other pressure. Maybe even school hasn't worked out very well. And sometimes kids get down on themselves and they really haven't found their niche. But I'm going to tell you, the Lord has a plan for your life. He has a mission. He has something for you to do. And sometimes high school, junior high, it doesn't indicate what that gift is, but there's a gift inside of you, each one of you, that the Lord says in His Word that He planted in there. And I didn't know what I was going to do when I was your age. I knew I loved the Lord, and I knew I wanted to serve him. But I heard a preacher at church one time. He was a visiting pastor, and he said the three most dangerous words that you could say to the Lord. The three most dangerous words you could say to him in a prayer is, use me, Lord. Use me, Lord. And I prayed that prayer, use me, Lord. And, it started when I was young, just wondering, how to get people together. So even when I was very young, I used to just have games or football games. We'd play out there at Bethany's field, and I'd invite friends out, and we would start every game with a prayer. And these are guys that never would go to church, but they would play football. So we would have these games every Sunday afternoon. And it used to be actually tackle without pads, but back then, when you're young, you just bounce around anyway, so it doesn't matter. But as we got older, they said, why don't you bring like flags so we can play flag football? We didn't have flags, so we just used old socks and put them in our back pockets and played, But those games ended up getting bigger and bigger every year. And we ended up having 11 on 11 with benches. People would sub in, But I knew that the Lord used me just to bring people in. But it started when I was young. I started, with that prayer, use me, Lord. And, you never know. But getting people together is important. Fellowship is so important. So sometimes, the most important thing you can have in your junior high or high school group is just to come. If you just come and encourage somebody else, and, you find out that there's kids that are really hurting inside, and you may not think that they're hurting. They may be even popular in school, but you find out, it's kind of an act. That there's things inside that they've put on an act, and they put on a mask at school, that they're the class comedian or the class, football player, or something that they put on. But, kids have another story inside of them, and only the Lord knows what that is. But the Lord wants to touch a heart, There's these people that put on this act that they're okay, but inside they're not okay. They want to know, what on earth am I here for? Is there any plan for me? Am I just part of the primordial slime that I'm just here by accident? I don't even know my dad. Am I here by accident? My parents told me I'm an accident. And I always say the same thing to kids. Hey, there's accidental parents, but there's no accidental children. Everybody on this planet has a plan for them by the Lord. And they, may have been a surprise to their parents, but they're not a surprise to the Lord. The Lord has a plan for them. And I want to just tell your youth groups, junior high and high school, the Lord has a plan for your life. Make no mistake about that. You're not here by accident. He has a plan for your life. And the nice thing is he loves you, He loves you so much, and, he's got a plan. In that plan, too, is this wonderful gift of forgiveness. And sometimes in life we think, we blew it, or we're not in the way I want to be, or whatever. But the Lord always gives us a do-over. He's a God that gives do-overs. And I always love that, because when I was a kid, I'd make mistakes and I'd get so mad at myself, But as I got older, I realized part of his plan is just to, hey, Bruce, the nice thing is my mercies are new every morning. You get a do-over. Let's make today a new day. Yesterday ended last night. Today's a new day. And that's the best part to me of being a Christian, is his wonderful grace. He has ridiculous amounts of grace for you. Every day's a new start because of that love. So there's something I'm going to share with any young person out there. Just understand how much he loves you, and he really, really does have a plan for your life.
A lot of ground that I think kids definitely need to hear, even with just some discussion like that I've had. Just thank you for that.
Bad. Well, I see a lot of kids. I see several thousand kids a year, or at least around them. And, I know that they're really confused in this world today, because our world has made things confusing. There's all kinds of identity issues, and, who am I really? And do I matter to anyone? And I see that a lot, and especially my school for foster youth. There's those kids, when I'm around them, they're wondering, really, is there anybody that loves me, and will I find love in this world? There's all these questions. But when you get into it, you find out that, boy, the Lord loves them and wants to save them. He wants to know them so bad, you know. But sometimes in youth group, we can't see that. We see kids maybe dressing a little different or not have the same background or whatever. But man, they need to know the Lord. They need a youth group that shares the love of the Lord with them more than ever before. So that's why, you know, Billy and Ray, I love you guys. I'm so glad that you serve the way you do. Our church needs you, but the next generation needs you so, so bad. So I just am excited just to know you guys and glad that you help. And, you know, I want to support you any way I can. So thank you again for all that you're doing for our young people.
It's our pleasure. Well, that's the official end, I believe,
Okay.
of
All
the
right.
interview.
All right, you guys. God bless you. Have a great night.
Thank you so much, Bruce.
Thank you.
Good night.
All right. All right, do a blooper. Do a blooper. Come on.
Blooper?
Yeah. Say a joke.
Do a blooper. That is not